Hey everybody, James Shepard here with another Merchant Sales Insight. And today I want to talk to you about what I believe is the best portfolio that you can have in merchant services today. And no, it's not cash discounting. No, it's not dual pricing. It's not surcharging. In fact, it isn't even B2B portfolio. No, I don't think that's the best portfolio you can have today. I think the best portfolio you could create today is a portfolio of software companies that serve other businesses. Let me explain why. So our sponsor today is Tilled, Tilled, Tilled.com, and they provide PayFac as a service to software companies, and they work with ISOs and agents to create these partnerships. But I want to, just by way of introduction, really explain what I'm talking about and what it would mean to have a portfolio of software companies. So what many of you may not know is I have a lot of different companies, and one of those companies is CC Storage, which is a self-storage management software company. So we have W2 developers that built things like ISO AMP that you would see and our learning management system and things of that nature. One of the other things I had our developers build a few years ago was a software company that services people who own self-storage properties, right? So if you own a self-storage property, you would use our software to manage that, to set up your units, your unit types, and then you can send a link out to your customers that are going to rent these units, and they can log into our software and they can set up auto pay, they can choose a unit, they can manage their payments, all of that. And so we integrated payments into that software. Well, here's the cool thing about this. So with that company, as our salespeople here are selling people that own self-storage software, businesses, every time we get a new client for our software, we also get a new merchant account, right? Because each person that owns a self-storage property, they need their own merchant account in order to process payments for their clients. And even though that's all integrated in through our software, we set up a separate merchant account for each of our clients so that we can process their payments and get them their money. And of course we do, dual pricing and all that, so that they don't pay any fees. But we have to integrate all of that in. So here's the thing. Imagine if you were the ISO or agent that had my credit card processing account for CC Storage, for the software company, okay? Well, let's say I sell 1 month, 20 new self-storage facilities on using my software. Well, in order for that self-storage facility to sign up for my software, they have to create a merchant account, because part of what my software provides, in addition to like managing the units and all of that, is it provides accepting payments electronically, ACH and card payments, right? So that means if you were my agent or ISO, which of course you can't be because I'm my own agent or ISO, right? But if you were my agent or ISO, I would be giving you 20 new merchant accounts a month, and you would have to work zero, not one bit. My company handles the onboarding process because they're my clients. My company supports it because it's our software, it's our clients, right? Like there's literally nothing that needs to be done. I'm just, adding accounts. So imagine for a second if you had a portfolio of 10 small to medium-sized software companies that were each adding 10 to 20 new business clients a month. And each of those clients was setting up a new merchant account so that they could accept payments. Well, if you got that all set up and work with these software companies to get integrated in, that means on a monthly basis, if you had 10 companies, even adding only 10 new accounts a month, which would be a pretty small software company, right? That's 100 new merchant accounts a month that you would get in your portfolio, and in exchange, you would do like literally nothing to get that. So you say, what's the best portfolio you could have today? It's a portfolio of software companies. And what makes it even better is this. There are thousands and thousands of these small software companies today that integrate payments into their software who are currently making nothing on the payment processing. They're integrated with Stripe or other legacy systems that are giving them nothing, or maybe a tiny fraction, a little 5% override, referral override, and they're making like zero, and they're processing millions of dollars in payments. And this is a market that you could go out and capture if you get good at reaching out to these software companies and talking to them about their payment processing needs. But in order to really make this work, there are 3 things that you got to provide to these software companies if you want to get them to work with you. And all three of these things are provided brilliantly by our sponsor, which is Tilled. They provide PayFac as a service. So what's a PayFac? If you haven't heard that word before, it's short for payment facilitator. There is a long, expensive, complicated process you can go through to become a payment facilitator, which means you get to kind of pick and choose the services you want to provide to your merchants. You can take on risk, you can take on underwriting, you can take on all of these things, which allows you to do a simplified onboarding process and enrollment process. And so we'll talk more about that in a minute, but that's a payment facilitator. So think like Square or Stripe or, a big company like that. So for a small software company, that's not realistic for them. They don't want to become their own payment facilitator, as a general rule. That's very complex and expensive. But they do need some of these services that PayFacs offer, like instant onboarding, which I'll talk about in a minute. So Tilled offers PayFac as a service, meaning Tilled is a PayFac, and they take some of these things they're able to do, and they offer them to software companies. So what do you need if you want to sell software companies? 3 things. I'm going to cover them very quickly. Number 1, an easy API. You say, oh, James, I don't want to know about an API. I'm not a computer programmer. Well, if you're going to sell software companies, you need to know what an API is. You don't need to know all about it. You don't need to be a developer, but you need to have a general idea. So an API is quite simply a programming interface that allows one computer to talk to another computer. So when we built CC Storage, we needed to be able to do things like allow a customer to add a credit card to their account as a stored payment method. How did we do that? We used an API, and our software, our computer, talked to the processor's computer and said, hey, we need to securely send this cardholder data over, and we need you to send us back a token so we can hang on to it. And then our API needs to tell you every time we need to bill that card, right? That's all done automatically through what's called an API. The reason Stripe has taken such a huge lead in integrating with software companies is that their API is so easy to use, it's really well documented, and they make it super easy for developers to quickly do these integrations. Developers are very expensive. A lot of times a senior developer is $140,000 a year plus. So as a manager of developers myself, I don't want to give my developer something to do and say, well, this is going to take you a month. If I can get it done in 3 days instead of a month, that's going to save me like $15,000 if it's only one person working on it. That's a big deal, right? So I want an easy API. Tilled has a very easy API. They work great with developers. So easy API, number 1. Number 2, easy onboarding. The biggest friction with these software companies, they're like, hey, our clients need payment processing, right? So they sign them up for the software, which is super easy, right? It's like a little web form, your name, your email, your phone number, sign up, And then it's like, okay, and now you need a payment processing account. Well, we're going to email you a link to a 19-page DocuSign agreement that looks like you're about to buy a house. That's a lot of friction. They don't want that. They want to use simple web forms like Stripe has or Square has to just instantly sign that merchant up. Guess what? Tilled, PayFac as a service, one of the services they provide is this API for getting people signed up. And so it allows software companies like ours to build really simple, streamlined, processes to easily onboard a merchant and to set up these new merchant accounts. So now when a new self-storage property manager wants to sign up for our software, we want them to have one screen to create their account and then maybe another couple of screens to create their merchant account. They click done. Instantly, they have a merchant account. Instantly, it's integrated into our system. Instantly, they can accept card and ACH payments. Finally, number 3 is easy profits. Easy profits. Now, this is how you close the deal. You got to have the API. You got to have the easy onboarding. But if you really want to close the deal, talk to these software companies about how much money they're leaving on the table. Huge amount of money. Huge, okay? They could be making a fortune if they were getting a larger rev share. Now, what does that mean to you? Well, it means you're going to get a smaller cut, right? You work with Tilled. Obviously, you're not getting a big residual cut per merchant because you're giving the software company some of the residuals. Then Tilled is going to split some of that up with you and, with the software company. So, there's 3 people with their hand in the pie. But again, this is a huge pie that grows bigger every month with 0 effort from you. So you're adding a lot of merchant accounts and getting a smaller split, but you're doing 0 work once you get everything ready to go for that software company. I think this is the best merchant portfolio you can have today. If you want to learn more about this, check out Tilled. It's TILLED.com. Fantastic company, great solutions. Check them out and start learning more about building a portfolio of software companies. My name is James Shepard. Thanks for watching.